Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Bitcoin Sage Show. I'm your host, Patrick, and let's get started. Today is January 1st, 2018. It's around 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just wanted to start by wishing everyone a Happy New Year and all the best in health and happiness, and obviously success in the cryptocurrency markets. Let's get started with our crap news for the day. So I'll start off with CNBC, which has just been full of Bitcoin over the last few months. Bitcoin will trade under 5,000, warns Dennis Gartman. Again, our amazing visionary Dennis Gartman is putting his 2 cents in. So that could also mean the bottom at this point. But, Bitcoin hasn't been doing very well, so it's very easy for anybody to look at the trend lines now and say there's a higher probability of it going down than up. So nothing special there. But on this, very interesting, a major cryptocurrency platform, BitMex, has liquidated its customers' BitcoinCash positions. Not positions, I apologize. Basically, the BitcoinCash that was issued to them back in August, they took all of that BitcoinCash and sold it out and are placing Bitcoin back into folks' accounts. Very interesting. I don't know. I'm not sure why that is, to be honest with you. They must be taking sides on the BitcoinCash, Bitcoin position, or maybe it was just easier for them to liquidate into this Bitcoin position instead of resetting their systems to be able to manage BitcoinCash. I don't really know. We'll see on that one. BitcoinCash chart seems okay right now, so I'm not sure if they just took advantage of the last run-up to take advantage of that or what, but I think it may have been a systems thing. Bank of England plots its own Bitcoin-style digital currency. This is really exciting. Canada is doing something similar. I think you'll see something leading out of Canada, England, or Australia in order to attempt to make some sort of a digital currency and see what the reaction is. I have an article coming up as well about the petrocurrency that Venezuela is looking to float. That will be another first test. So I think we'll see something out of like Bank of England, Canada, or Australia on the countryside digital currency. And then we'll also see, obviously, the Venezuelan petro cryptocurrency or pseudo cryptocurrency. We'll see what details there are there coming up soon as well. Great article on what's next for crypto assets. Just kind of talks about IOCs and the coming, big boom of more IOCs and what's happening in the industry in general, the amount of money that's coming in from institutional investments, venture capital money that's pouring into the market. We saw the greatest amount of money pour into the market, almost double over 2016 and 2017. We'll probably see an increase of capital flow into the markets. So take a look at this article in the description, and I recommend it. Definitely read through that. Global peer-to-peer crypto markets experienced record volume throughout December. I think everyone can see why and how that's happened. I think that'll continue because there's still a bottleneck of people registering to get access to all the exchanges. I think Bittrex is still close to new registrations. Google pulls crypto mining software or Chrome extension software archive poster, which was pretty neat. I just finished writing a little bit of a post on browser mining and how it's really taken off over the last year. More and more websites are launching, JavaScripts in the background that do CPU mining for Bitcoin, taking advantage of a user's computer. This was something that was a Chrome extension that did something similar. I believe this was something that the people actually had control over. Either way, it's interesting that this continues to creep up. Actually, the one thing I did see that was interesting was a widget that was available that you could actually mine a CPU, and from that you could end up picking a charity or an organization where you wanted your money to go to for the mining that you were doing on your CPU during your downtime. So I thought that was great. Interesting technology change there. A kidnapped crypto executive was reportedly released after paying $1 million Bitcoin ransom. So I think we're going to see more and more of this. I think the gentleman was from, it's called XMO Bitcoin Exchange Manager, Pavel Lurin. I think there's a picture of him right here. So it says here he was CEO of the finance company. So he was targeted again in the Ukraine, and they got $1 million in Bitcoin as a ransom. So I think this kind of stuff is the reason why you see more and more individuals online or in the crypto space choosing to not show their faces, choosing not to connect to their public profiles for exactly this reason. So I would keep the number of Bitcoin you have on the down low. I would keep your successes also on the down low. Or if you choose to, make a fake account or a fake profile on Twitter and show off all you want under that account, as long as you can't have it linking back to your normal profile. Let's see what's next here. Ripple cryptocurrency surges as Japanese groups agree to use it. I think that's probably why we're seeing, or at least that's what people are saying is the reason why we're seeing this last little run up in Ripple. We'll go over that in the charting as well. Blockchain brings business boom to IBM, Oracle, and Microsoft. I think they've seen a big increase in corporations turning to them to say, hey, how do we get involved in this? How do we use it? How do we take advantage of it? So good for them. Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies are like Ponzi schemes, says Indian government. So the Indian government is coming out saying that, I think this is the notice that says, there's a real heightened risk of investment bubble for these types seen in Ponzi schemes, which can result in sudden, prolonged crashes, exposing investors, especially retail consumers, losing their hard-earned money. Consumers need to be alert and extremely cautious as to avoid getting trapped in such Ponzi schemes. There have been quite a few Ponzi schemes out of India, and in a lot of countries have been taking advantage of cryptocurrencies to run Ponzi schemes, including proof of stake. So, I think that's why a lot of governments are coming out with these stances, because there are a lot of bottom-feeding coins out there that are taking advantage and are being run as Ponzi schemes, because once you get your money into Bitcoin and then transfer that Bitcoin into a cryptocurrency, another one that is a Ponzi scheme, there's really little that a government or any kind of, policing organization can do to find those coins or find those funds. Once they go into Bitcoin and then into another coin, they're pretty much gone. So that's the reason why people are still using these coins, and are, especially if they're running Ponzi schemes, it's much more profitable and easier to do them now with cryptocurrencies. So be aware. Ethereum founder Vitalik says, I won't stop or slow working on crypto just because price memes and stupid jokes exist. If you're not following him on Twitter, I recommend it. There's always some interesting stuff coming from Vitalik. And hopefully we'll see some big things coming from Ethereum this year. Very excited about that platform. So get set for Petro, Venezuela's cryptocurrency answer to Bitcoin. So this will be exciting to see. It'll be backed by 5 billion barrels of oil. So this will be the very first state-sponsored cryptocurrency that we'll be able to see, and see how the market accepts that. The last one is Crypto BNB is using blockchain to disrupt. Yeah, sure, disrupt. I'm sure it's going to disrupt a lot in the travel industry. So just another add-on blockchain in an attempt to take advantage of investors and folks who think it's a big advantage. And I think these are the kind of garbage things we're going to see this year, all year long. Let's jump to the coin market caps for today. So we got number 1, Bitcoin, number 2, Ripple, which is just mind-blowing to see it up there and at that price. But again, it's the circulation that's putting it up in that ranking right now over Ethereum, BitcoinCash. Okay, and here is our breakdown. Let's get started with some stock charts. Coin charts. So let's start with Bitcoin on the 4-hour. As you can see, we're continuing onto the downside. Not too much has changed for us. Bitcoin continues to attempt to start and make an attempt to go up, but hasn't been able to get past this resistance level. And since we've closed under 14,000 and weren't able to get over that 14,000 level and hold, that really does bode pretty poorly for Bitcoin over the next little while. So watch carefully and hedge yourself if you can, or move yourself out of Bitcoin. So I'm not really expecting too much in the next couple of days. I'm really hoping that we see a tremendous upside move, but at this point everything looks like it's going to continue to the downside. Let's jump to Ethereum, even though I should probably be looking at Ripple next. I still can't believe that it's second place on the coin market cap. So as expected, Ethereum was bouncing off our resistance level here, and as soon as it passed that resistance level was another buying opportunity to go long, even though we're long Ripple from this position at 0.046. I think there's tremendous upside, and I'm seeing more and more folks, top traders on Twitter, joining in on the Ethereum opportunity. There's a tremendous upside on Ethereum, and now that Bitcoin seems to be confirming its downtrend, I think we'll see a nice upward move on Ethereum. Let's jump to Ripple. So at this point, Ripple needs to do a bit of work before it's interesting again. I think it needs to get up to just over 16,900 before it's back into a positive run. So at this point, it's either going to continue working its way up and get over that 16,900 level, and then we'll see a continued move upward, or at this point we might see a sideways movement and a return down, like it does happen quite often. So watch Ripple. It hasn't totally fallen apart. I was expecting down here at around 12,400 to see that fall apart, 12,500. That did not happen. That was very positive for Ripple, and it's continued to consolidate gently sideways, breaking this resistance, which is positive, setting up some support at this level. So we'll see if it holds. At this point, I would start looking at something positive around 16,800. If we can break through that level, we should see something good happening again from Ripple, which I can't believe, but there's obviously a lot of interest for it around the world. There's a lot of interest because of the price itself, but if you do the math on the supply, again, I have no idea why people are buying it. Anyways, let's jump to BitcoinCash, another favorite. I did post a long I trade idea on Bitcoin the other day. Sorry, I'm just going to line this up. So if you caught that on Twitter, just looking at some options here. This looks like a traditional setup for BitcoinCash, similar to the one that was here. So what happened back in November, as it spiked, then kind of came back down. Once it broke out past this level, had another spike. So we're kind of watching that and looking at something similar. So I would go long around this level, which is 0.23, and that's less aggressive. You want to be more aggressive, you might want to get in at around 0.186, and we're targeting 0.11, maybe more, but at this point that's kind of a conservative target for this quick play. We'll see what happens. Let's jump to Dash. Dash seems to be breaking out, very positive. I'm hoping once it gets over this 50-day moving average and continues upward, we'll see some positive moves, but at this point it's breaking this resistance. It's continuing to hold above this line here. Everything looks fairly good for Dash, so let's watch that carefully and see if we can break out to the upside on Dash. IOTA too looks positive, seems to be trending in the right direction. Let's see if we can add our little trend line here. See if we can hold this support level. At this point is a good place to look for a long position, as there's some opportunity for it to bounce up, and it looks positive there. Let's go to Litecoin. Litecoin seems to be continuing that sideways consolidation, but it is holding off of this resistance, or sorry, this support level, which is good news for it. If this didn't hold, man, I would be watching out, and this could be good old Charlie's sell-off that dropped us back down. So Litecoin could be headed back up after this sell-off and consolidation, but watch that stop line at 0.016. But there's some good upside left there. Here's my good friend Neo, which I'm super bullish and have continued to be super bullish. This and Ethereum are just awesome at this point for me. I'm very excited about. Continues breaking through this resistance level and continuing upward or holding the line here. So continue to watch Neo. I think you'll see a lot of action coming out of Neo over the next few weeks, as well as Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. I'm going to add that to the charting mix because that's another one that I'm very bullish about. Next is Monero. It's kind of screwing up the support line here, but again, that doesn't matter at this point. This sideways consolidation and a very positive one bodes well for Monero at this point. I don't really have any setup that I can see that I would go for, but I'm definitely positive, not negative on it at this point. Let's jump to Neem. Continues to be positive, hitting this same resistance level here. Means it'll most likely break through here and start heading up higher, and we'll have to add some new lines and some new resistance and support, but very positive. Another one, this is kind of like where I see Ethereum and Neo being somewhere around these points here. So I'd say Neem is slightly more developed in their bullish case scenario. And I think that's it for today, everybody. If you have any questions, feel free to comment on the videos. Reach out to me on Twitter at BitcoinSage. Check out the website, bitcoinsage.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to or follow me on Twitter. And we'll try to be sending out some of these posts as well, or some of these trade setups on Twitter more often with specific targets, stop limits, a little bit more of some ideas of the levels that we're following. Using our resistance support and fib levels in order to get those. And then we'll add some more videos teaching where all these tools come from and how you can do this yourself. Anyways, have a profitable day, everyone, and all the best, and Happy New Year in 2018.